Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Iowa Live. Lou and Jackie here. As we're checking the rearview mirror right now, Jackie, we see that the Democratic National Convention and the Republican National Convention are over. We've had a little time to process, so we need to find out what some of our experts think of it.
Absolutely. Welcoming this morning, Jeff Link and Craig Robinson, representing Democrat and Republican. Gentlemen, we've been kind of hit over the head with politics for quite some time, but especially the last 2 weeks. So we're wanting to get your honest reaction of what we've seen over the course of the last 2 weeks with the national conventions. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what is that initial reaction after you've had time to process?
Well, the big takeaway is that was one long speech last week from Donald Trump. That was it will be memorable for its length, not for anything that he said, because he just rehashed everything that he says all day long, every day. But just way too long. Like, to speak for more than an hour just didn't make any sense.
Well, it's probably all the clapping breaks, but that happens in quite a few times when we have speeches like that. Craig, what's your initial reaction? We'll start with the RNC and on this topic this morning.
Look, I thought that Trump's convention really reflected who he is. I mean, it was over the top. It was big. It was grandiose. It was it fit him. It was all about him. But I think that's what I expected going into this. And in some ways, as I watched the final night, I mean, it almost looked like an inauguration more than a convention. Just having the White House as the backdrop, which is controversial, but
Craig, it's not controversial. It's illegal.
Well, we'll see. I mean, look, I mean, it surprised me that they were able to use the White House. I'll admit, but there it was. It was on national TV, and it carries weight. And I think that Joe Biden's convention looked like it was produced, in a TV studio, and it pretty much was. And yet Trump used, besides the White House, used other venues that I think really gave it a little bit more presence on screen. And every shot looked great. It was very well done. It's always been I think Republicans fear that you have this political outsider. How will these conventions go? And the last two conventions that Donald Trump has put on, I think have been successful.
Coming from the world of broadcasting, gentlemen, I think we all know that live is better because of the energy you can bring to something. Did that hinder Joe Biden when it was pretty much just a produced convention this go around, or was that the message of our new normal, just trying to keep everyone safe during a pandemic?
Well, I thought one thing that was really interesting to note, the writers for the Democratic convention understood that it was somebody speaking into a camera. And so the tone was very conversational, and it was very intimate, not energetic, as you said, but, the writers for the Republican convention were writing like people were delivering this in a big hall to a big crowd of people. And I think for the folks that were at the Mellon Center, it was tough, and it didn't come off well. We saw that Kimberly Guilfoyle on the first night just screaming like she was speaking to a throng of people, and it just was hollow and weird. And so you got to really draw a balance there.
That was a much more produced convention for the Republicans, and it makes sense. We understand Mark Burnett had something to do with producing that event, which made a difference, didn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I think it did. I think Jeff's also right. I mean, there were maybe a handful of Republican speakers who it just seemed odd. I mean, I remember watching the Kimberly Guilfoyle speech and just cringing. I think you have to know your audience is actually that TV camera. It's not this giant room that you're speaking into. But I thought for the most part, the speakers did a good job. I mean, I even think that, there was a difference between, the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, went to Washington, D.C. and delivered a speech. And while it might have been recorded, it presented live. And I think there's a little bit it's a little bit more engaging to see it that way than, Governor Kim Reynolds, who had a very nice produced video that was aired during the convention. I think there was an advantage to having all these speakers, these second, the lower tier card speakers, go to one location and give these speeches. I thought it kind of helped it present in a convention type manner more than what we saw just individual videos from all over the country.
Well, Jeff, you had to be pretty proud of Barack's, his speech that he gave, because that was very well done too, from what Democrats have said.
It was really well done, and it was a really terrific testament to his friendship and his respect for the vice president. I actually think the Democrats got a lot done that they needed to in their convention. The truth is, even though Biden has been in public service for a long time, a lot of people don't really know that much about him other than he was Barack Obama's vice president. So they rounded that out. I think the telling of the story of him riding Amtrak every single day from Delaware down to D.C. so he could have tuck his kids in and have breakfast with them in the morning. It was a terrific and compelling story. Like, people didn't know that stuff. I bet a lot of people didn't know he was from Delaware and that he grew up in Scranton. So, I think they really did a nice job with that. I think some of the videos that they used were incredibly strong and powerful. And, it was a big coming out party for Kamala Harris. And it looks like the ratings were better for the Democrats than the Republicans of the 2 weeks.
Some final thoughts, gentlemen, now that we know who officially is running for president, as they have accepted the nomination, as if there was any question, what's next? What do we look forward to now, besides just being inundated with more commercials? And
I think the campaign starts. I think that, this is kind of the signal to the rest of the country that here we go. And even in these crazy times, we now know that Biden's going to start traveling to battleground states. And so I think this will start to feel a little bit more like a regular campaign, because it has not felt anything like a general election campaign since March. And so I think we'll actually start to see some campaigning in battleground states and other things that we can maybe start to draw some conclusions about where do people actually stand in this race.
Final thought, Jeff?
Well, then we're going to quickly turn into debate season, and there will be 3 debates.
It's up to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy says no debates.
Well, I mean, Trump should really want these debates because he said that Joe Biden is, detached and decrepit. So, if Biden can at least make it to the stage, it's going to be a victory, Craig.
The gloves are coming off.
Teresa Greenfield doesn't want to debate. Biden doesn't want to debate.
All right, you two. We're going to debate about that next time we see you. Appreciate your thoughts after the National Convention.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye now.